to our first case study in this module. We will be diving into the Paris Agreement, a landmark international treaty aimed at tackling climate change. This case study will examine the agreement's goals, achievements, shortcomings, and ongoing debate surrounding its effectiveness. The Paris Agreement, a brief overview. Adopted in 2015 under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the Paris Agreement is a legally binding international treaty on climate change. It aims to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels and pursue efforts to limit it to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Key features of the agreement include nationally determined contributions or NDCs. Each country sets its own targets for reducing emissions and adapting to climate change. Global stocktake. Every 5 years, countries assess their collective progress towards the agreement's goals and update their NDCs. Transparency and accountability. Countries are required to report on their emissions and progress towards their NDCs. Finance, technology, and capacity building. Developed countries are expected to provide financial and technological support to developing countries to help them mitigate and adapt to climate change. Achievements and progress. The Paris Agreement has achieved several notable successes. Global consensus. It has brought together nearly every country in the world in a common cause, demonstrating a shared commitment to addressing climate change. Increased ambition. Many countries have raised their ambition over time, pledging more significant emission reductions. Shift towards renewable energy. The agreement has accelerated the transition towards renewable energy sources and away from fossil fuels. Enhanced transparency. The reporting and review mechanisms have improved transparency and accountability in climate action. Shortcomings and challenges. Despite its achievements, the Paris Agreement faces significant challenges. Insufficient action. Current pledges are not enough to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. More ambitious action is needed. Implementation gaps. Some countries are lagging in implementing their NDCs, and financial support for developing countries remains inadequate. Geopolitical tensions. Political disagreements and tensions between major emitters such as the US and China can hinder progress. Lack of enforcement mechanisms. The agreement lacks strong enforcement mechanisms to ensure compliance. Discussion questions. Is the Paris Agreement a success or a failure? Why? What are the biggest challenges facing the Paris Agreement? What can be done to strengthen the agreement and ensure its effectiveness? What is the role of individual countries, businesses, and citizens in implementing the Paris Agreement? What are the potential consequences of failing to meet the agreement's goals? The Paris Agreement represents a significant step forward in global efforts to address climate change. However, its success ultimately depends on the collective will and action of the international community. By understanding the agreement's strengths and weaknesses, we can identify opportunities for improvement and contribute to a more sustainable future for our planet.